going on, party people? Back with some more Babymonochrome action. This is the grand finals, that's right, we made it. This is between Fille and Tiziown. So just so we're on the same page here, Tiziown's coming out of the loser's bracket, Fille's coming out of the winner's bracket. So Tiziown has to win 2 sets in order to win the tournament. Fille just has to win 1 set, so he is able to lose this first one if that's how it ends up going. Or if he wins this one, then it's all over. And just to make sure this remains spoiler free, if this ends up going to 2 sets, I'm gonna upload it in 2 separate videos. So no matter what, this is gonna be the first set. And if Tiziown ends up winning in the end, you guys will get some more Babymonochrome action in a future video. So there you have it. Anyways, let's get into it here. So, oh, and one last thing as well. This is a best of 5. Yeah. So for this tour, it's a best of 5 finals. So this video will likely be a little bit longer than the rest, just because I mean, I guess someone could sweep, but we'll have to wait and see how this pans out. Anyways, Fille bringing a pretty offensive team as always. You don't really see Fille bring anything too weird. Maybe we'll see something odd in this set, but it usually sticks to the classics. Likes to run some interesting sets though, so we'll see if he ends up throwing a curveball here. Bringing an offensive core made up of a Ghastly, an Arkin, a Diglett, and a Staryu for rapid spin support as well. And a Porygon and a Mind Food just to kind of bring out the back end there. So yeah, pretty standard team. Nothing really to mention there. Maybe we'll see an Arkin lead with Stealth Rocks perhaps. With a more offensively minded Diglett, we'll have to wait and see. Tiziown bringing, I don't know if you brought this team already, but I do remember Tiziown trying to make the Anorith work. This is an Anorith, right? I'm getting Anorith. Anorith Sand. I think he brought that to the losers finals. Might have been a different 6 though. But yeah, you got the Hippo, you've got the Ferroseed, and Anorith. Hopefully it actually does something in this one. Frillish, a Drillbur, and a Volibee as well. And I do wonder if this is an overcoat Volibee, just considering this is looking like a fatter sand team that might be looking to maybe take it a little bit more slow and steady. You don't see a real dedicated sweeper on this team unless that's a nasty plot Volibee, of course. So yeah, let's see how this one plays out. So here we go, game 1 of the grand finals. Mindful lead from Fille, Frillish lead from Tiziown. Gets the taunt off immediately to block a rapid spin. Instead goes for the Scald, maybe predicting that. Doesn't get the burn, however. Gets the knockoff on the Frillish. Thing loses its Violite. Tiziown staying and going for the Scald. Gets the burn on the second attempt. Mindful probably looking to U-turn on out of here, which is exactly what happens. Staryu coming out here. Let's take the next incoming water move, and if it gets burned, that's fine because of the natural cure ability, assuming that's what it's running. I guess it could be analytic. Ferroseed coming out here. On the hidden power, ooh, interesting. Now, I'm thinking from that damage that might not be fire. But then again, why would you click fighting on the Frillish? Maybe a prediction there. Maybe it was fighting, I don't know. But yeah, fire or fighting either way. Volibee coming in here. On the next hidden power as well. I guess fighting would have been neutral too, so that doesn't really tell us much more information. Maybe it was fire after all. Scald doesn't get the burn. We'll be able to knock off this thing's Violite, however. Arcing coming out here. As Tiziown also switches into the Frillish that same turn. And gets the Acrobatics KO. That thing was in range without its Violite, so perhaps Fille did a quick calc there. Hippo coming out here, setting up the Sand. Staryu for Fille. Gets Rocks up. Can't. However, without a spin blocker, Staryu might probably get off the spin later on. Big Scald on the Hippo. Just goes for the Quake. Gets the KO with the crit. I don't know if that mattered. That thing did lose its Violite after all. Diglett coming out here. Trapping the Hippo. Which, wasn't quite in range, unfortunately. I was able just to slack off here. Yeah. Gets up Rocks. And just lets Hippo get back up to full. Okay. Porygon coming out here on the next Earthquake. Does some decent chip. Puts Fille in a position where maybe he wants to recover. Fair Seed comes in here as Porygon just goes for the recovery. Yep. We're gonna see some hazards from the Sing. Mindfu switching in. Fair Seed clicks Iron Head. Okay, that's not something you see every day on a Fair Seed. Works in this situation. There's no Steel Resist left on Fille's team there. Not quite in range of Drain Punch. Fille likes to run Drain Punch on Fu over a high jump kick. That's something I've noticed. Gets a layer of spikes up. Just as a bit of a mercy, but Fille's getting pretty low. Might want a hard switch out of here. No, just goes for the Drain Punch. Get the KO. Mindfu will drop to the combination of Barbs and Sand. And Burn if Sand didn't get there. So 4-4 game at this point. Tiziown's got a few more hazards up at this point. Diglett in on the Drill Burr. Gets the Earthquake off. Drill Burr going for the Rock Slide. I do wonder if this is Sand Force, considering it is the Sand team. Do we see this thing break the mold? No, we do not. So yeah, this is Sand Force. This must mean a Violate Diglett though, because that didn't do much at all. We don't think we saw Life Orb. We'll see. Maybe we'll see a Life Orb hit here. No, we don't. So yeah, a Violate Diglett taking that a little bit better. There are situations where it is advantageous to run a Violate on Diglett, despite it being a really frail Pokemon, and this is definitely one of those situations. So yeah, good bring there by Fille. Just it's in the details with Fille. Seriously, that seems to be his game. Hippo comes out here. Porygon switches in. We know this thing can take an Earthquake pretty well, barring a crit. Instead we see a Whirlwind, so good play by Tiziown there, predicting that. Knowing Fille might want to preserve Diglett there. Ghastly comes out. Tiziown goes into Volibee, takes a big Stealth Rock hit. Can take a Giga Drain quite well. Volibee might be a sack at this point. Sludge Bomb does get there. So Fille up 4-2 at this point. Maybe Anorith can bring this back. We see it come out here. Porygon for Fille. Coming back out here. Is this going to be able to take a hit? Let alone 2. We see the Rock Blast. Ooh. Certain number of hits will get there. 3 won't. What's the speed on this thing? 18. Yeah, it's going to get the X Scissor kill on the follow-up. He goes into Diglett here. Don't know if the Anorith is going to be in range though. It really depends on its item. Doesn't take... Oh, maybe not actually. Yeah. X Scissor will get the kill here. 2-2. Ghastly would be a speed tie if this Anorith's running max speed. 18 is pretty impressive actually. Doesn't win the speed tie. Anorith does get enough hits and a crit to get the Rock Blast. KO. Some good fortune there for Tiziown. And that just leaves Arkin, which is going to drop to a Rock Blast, which connects. So, luckily, the Rock Blasts actually land, because I know it's not a perfect, accurate move. And Tiziown winning the first game here. Nice seeing the Anorith actually do something this time. It's interesting. This is actually a surprisingly fast Pokemon. I wouldn't have guessed it. I would have looked at this thing and thought it was pretty slow, but no, it's 18 speed, which is very good for this tier. I mean, nothing stellar, but you're going to outspeed a lot of really common things that hit like 17 or speed tie things like Ghastly, as we just saw. So, and of course, it's not going to take any Sand Chip on a Sand team because it's a Rock type. So, there you have it. Tiziown winning game 1. Let's get into game 2. All right, here we go. Game 2. Fille versus Tiziown. Tiziown bringing a team I think I've seen him bring before. As we have a Scrooby. Is that how you say it? Scorupy. There we go. Yeah, we're also seeing a Fair Seed from Tiziown. So we got a couple Pokemon that are weak to fire here. I don't know if he likes to bring fire types. Didn't bring one this time. Maybe we'll see some coverage. You have a Staryu, a Ghastly, a Volibee, and a Diglett. So overall, pretty balanced team here from Tiziown. Nothing too crazy barring the Scorpy, which isn't even that crazy if you ask me. Fille is bringing a Doduo, which is, yeah, that's a pretty creative Pokemon to bring. This thing can hit pretty hard, and it is quite fast, hitting 18 speed. Same as Anorith, important enough. Yeah, so Volibee there, and a Drifloon. So you got some bird spam going on here. He's got 3 flying types. And with that in mind, also has a Staryu to help with rapid spin support. And then just to balance things out, you got a Diglett because it's just overall a good Pokemon. And you have the Chinchou, which maybe we'll see some water absorbed, volt absorbed mind games there with the Staryu. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, let's get into this one. Pharisee lead from Tiziown. Looking to get up hazards right away. Chinchou lead for Fille. This is pretty good for Tiziown. However, this thing has the hidden power Fire. Gets it off immediately. Gets some Stealth Rocks off. But Tiziown probably going to get out of here. Goes into Staryu. Take the next hidden power Fire. Goes into Diglett. On the follow-up here. On the Scald. Ooh. Maybe expecting the electric move. That was a little bit of a risky play there. I shouldn't even say a little bit of risky play. That was a really risky play by Tiziown. Expecting the electric move. I mean, that was kind of a classic bait. I don't think a player like Fille is going to fall for something like that. Yeah, wow. Okay, tough start there for Tiziown. Scorpy comes out here. Staryu for Fille. No Ghost type on Tiziown's side either, so he can pretty safely try to get a spin off. Goes for the Psychic, okay. Important note too, Psychic is not stab on Staryu, as Staryu is a water type, not water psychic like its evolution. So running Psychic is kind of heat. Though poison types are pretty common here in Little Cup, so not a totally weird coverage move to run, but not something you see on Staryu every day, so there you go. And Staryu has a pretty good special attack stat, so it's going to be able to hit pretty hard with that. Goes into Ghastly despite just revealing Psychic. But the combination of Scald and Psychic is going to knock out that Ghastly. So despite having some good hazards up, Tiziown kind of on the back seat here. Goes into Pharisee. Volibee for Fille. On the Bullet Seed. Just going to get a bunch of weak armor boosts here. And should be able to take this quite well. Don't really want to get a crit on any of these. Doesn't get one. It's a high roll in there though, but it's fine. So this Volibee's all juiced up on speed boost. Reveals to be a physical Volibee, lands on Tiziown's own Volibee and goes for U-turn to get out of there. It's going to be pretty low after rocks. So Staryu's going to come out here, maybe trying to get the spin off. Volibee going for the roost. There, gets the spin off. Tiziown clicking knockoff. Running his own physical Volibee as well here. So we're back to square one with the hazards. Goes for the Scald, doesn't get the burn. Brave Bird's gonna get the KO on that Staryu, wow. Doduo making its debut here for Fille. Skorupi for Tiziown. Big Brave Bird is going to be super effective, going to knock that thing out. Doesn't really tell us what item this Doduo is running though. As a Violate or a Banded would surely have knocked that thing out. Chinchou comes out here on Staryu. Not Water Absorb, as it does take damage from the Water type Scald. Tiziown just going to stay in here, fish for a burn, doesn't get it on either attempt, and then Fille's just going to Volt Switch on out of there. Diglett comes out here. That Staryu is low enough. This thing is trapped. Gonna get knocked out with a Earthquake. Fille looking really good here. No hazards up on either side. Volibee comes out here. Gets Toxic by the Diglett. Goes for the Roost. But this thing's on a timer now. Which this late in the game is kind of all you need. Sets up some late game rocks. Just in case Volibee wants to get out of here. Gonna take a Brave Bird. And we see the Pursuit here just to get a little bit of chip. And Brave Bird's going to intuit KO that Diglett, which I feel like was a Violate yet again. Doduo coming out here. This one gets to 18 speed. Goes for the Brave Bird. And Ferroseed is going to come out, and this is game. Ferroseed is quite low. Oh, and the crit's is going to get there anyways, so there you have it. Fille had that one in the bag, though, late game. Not like Ferroseed's the kind of Pokemon that can bring it back here. So we're all tied up at 1. Fille getting a big victory here with the Doduo. Let's get into Game 3. Here we go, Game 3. Let's get into it. So Fille bringing some balance again. You have the Drillbur, which I'm kind of thinking is going to be more of an offensive one this time around, just looking at the team. You got that Porygon Mindfu structure like you brought in Game 1 there. Ghastly Abra. Very standard offensive core there. And then you have the Chinchou as well, just to round things out. Did pretty well in the last game. No reason not to bring it again for this one. Tiziown bringing Cranidos. Not the first time he's brought that. Not the first time he's brought Sand either. Not even to this set. So going back to Sand. You have a few Pokemon that aren't going to be taking Sand damage. Again, maybe we'll see Overcoat Volibee. Unlikely. Even on these Sand cores, it just seems like people are running weak armor, but could happen. Yeah, so you got the Hippo, of course, because it's Sand. You got the Frillish again. This is similar to the team brought in Game 1 here. In that you got a Frillish, and you've got the Hippo, as well as a Volibee. Don't see a Drillbur, though, so kind of a combination of the two teams you brought already here. Got the Abra that won't be taking any Sand damage either because of Magic Guard. Yeah, not much more to say. Cranidos is a very threatening Pokemon. Does look like it could break through Fille's team here a little bit. He can deal with that Mindfu, so we'll see how Tiziown plays this early game here. Abra lead from Tiziown, interesting. Ghastly lead from Fille, that works out for Tiziown here. Tiziown going to double into Ferroseed, maybe predicting a switch to something like Porygon, sure. That works, so Porygon could be running Hidden Power Fire. Fille going into Fu. As Tiziown sets up a layer of spikes. Makes me think that this thing probably doesn't have Stealth Rocks, probably on the Hippo. Fille going for the knockoff. Crucial. Oh, there's the Rock Skate. Proving me wrong right away. Wonder what kind of Hippo we're looking at here. Foolish coming in on the next knockoff. Good prediction there by Fille. Getting lots of value out of this Mindfu early on. U-turns on out of there. Chinchou comes out. On the Will-O-Wisp, sure. Chinchou's a physical attacker. The residual damage isn't great, but there's a worse recipients to something like that. Hippo setting up the Sand here. On the Volt Switch. Okay, so Tiziown actually getting the electric move prediction correct this time. Though this thing's probably not going to want to take a Scald. Fille may be expecting that switch again. And Tiziown go for the Crunch, and Sand and Burn is going to knock this thing out. Wow. It's bold stay in there by Tiziown. I like it though. Mindfu comes out here for Fille. Frillish for Tiziown. Takes the knockoff. This thing already lost its item, however. Kind of pressure to recover here though. This Mindfu just U-turns on out of here. Ghastly comes out. On the Scald. Gets burned. It's looking like a 2-hit KO though, but Tiziown going to want to get out of here, you would think. Nope, just sacks to a Sludge Bomb. Interesting that Frillish was in range, despite that being a resisted hit. And Frillish being overall pretty fat Pokemon, so 5-5 here. Abra coming out. Porygon going to come and take all those hazards. I wonder if this thing's in range of 2 Psychics. We'll be after a crit, so there you have it. Big crit there. And it misses the Charge Beam. Okay, so nice little revenge hacks there on the following turn. Tiziown going into Volibee here. And Porygon's right back up to full. Okay. Gets a knockoff on the Porygon. That's crucial, especially if you want to go for a Cranidos sweep late game here. Has the Ice Beam. Not quite a 2-hit kill on this Volibee. This Volibee does appear to be Overcoat, by the way. Did not take Sand damage. Guess I'm missing something here. Let's just... yeah, no. That is an Overcoat Volibee, so... Finally. I can't remember if this Volibee was Overcoat in Game 1 or not, but... First he comes in on the T-Wave. The Mindfu switching back in for Fille. This thing did lose its Eviolite. Yes, it did. Bolty can do some big damage to this thing. Gets 3 hits. and Sand. Tiziown going into Volibee here. Misses the kick. Now you can see why Fille always brings Drain Punch on these Mindfoos because of things like that. Huge miss. Drillbur comes out here. Yeah, I just want to digest that. Yeah, that's big. I mean, on a lot of teams, Fille's past me. You're running Drain Punch on Mindfoo. I like Drain Punch on Mindfoo. I really don't like the chance of missing on kick and then taking that 50% recoil, especially in big games like this. But again, like, Tiziown needs to win 2 sets in order to win this tournament. Fille can kind of bring something like a high jump kick Mindfoo in a case like this, because really, it's not the end of the world if Fille ends up losing this set or not. So, you know, he could be more inclined to bring some of those riskier brings. So anyways, Drillbur comes out, sets up an SD here, and gets knocked off by the Volibee. What item does this thing lose? A Violet. Okay. Rock Slide is definitely going to be in range. The KO at +2 there. But Abra can come out here. Maybe this thing's in range of Psychic. Yes, it is. Especially after... that a Violet was knocked off. Sorry, I don't know where I was going with that. And, yeah, Fille's just going to forfeit here, knowing Abra is probably going to get the job done here. Porygon's going to be at about 50% when it comes in. Probably doesn't think their own Abra can get it done. And then, yeah, Ghastly's just going to drop to whatever this Abra has to bring. So, yeah, no, Fille pretty confident, not going to get back in this one. So Tiziown gets the forfeiture victory here. We didn't see Cranidos do anything. That's pretty sad. And let's get into game 4. I'm going to try to hurry this up here because my baby's waking up. So, anyways, game 4 here. Tiziown up 2-1. Bringing the Darumaka out of this one. Okay, sorry about that. Bringing the Darumaka to this one. An overall pretty balanced core beside that, though. Also bring the Zorua. Not a Pokemon you see every day in Gen 5 Little Cup. Interesting bring, though, nonetheless. Also got the Arkin as well. Another Drillbur, a Mindfoo, and a Chinchou. So overall, pretty offensively leaning team with some Fatmons there just to kind of balance things out. Keep an eye out for Darumaka, though. This thing can hit pretty hard. It is pretty slow at 15 speed, but you slap a Choice Band on this thing or even a Life Orb and it can hit pretty high damage output. Fille, on the other hand, being a Trapinch team, you've also got a Magnemite to maybe eliminate some Steel types and make things a little bit easier for Pokemon like Abra. However, Tiziown didn't bring any Steel types, so we've got the classic Magnemite bring and no Steel types from the opponent matchup that we've seen throughout this tour quite often. Also bringing a Ferroseed, so a Steel type of Fille's own. I guess that's 2 Steel types. Another Abra, a Pokemon I know that Fille tends to go back to quite a bit. Not that Abra is uncommon by any means. Everyone brings Abra, but I know Fille likes bringing Abra. You got a Trapinch, a Drifloon yet again, and the Ghastly. So pretty offensive team looking to eliminating Steel types, but you know, I kind of like Fille's team preview here. We'll have to see how this goes. And it is indeed 2-1 for Tiziown at this point. So Ferroseed lead, Darumaka lead from Tiziown. Excellent lead matchup. Goes right for the Flare Blitz. Gets the KO. It's going to take a ton of recoil, but yeah, I mean, when you look at Fille's team, though, like, what's the switching? You got nothing that resists fire. Which is interesting, because Fille seems to be a player that always has fire types on the mind. Always willing to bring Pokemon like Ponyta, Larvesta. So it's interesting that there's no fire resist here. Especially since Fille, brought Chinchou 2 out of the 3 games so far. Would have been a very effective Pokemon in this matchup here. Or even a Staryu with some investment, perhaps. So yeah, Darumaka getting the Ferroseed KO immediately. So, in all likelihood, no hazards here for Fille. Wow. Okay, Trapinch comes out here, which I think gets Stealth Rocks. We see the Flarebless Mitts, so this thing's running Hustle, in case you're wondering. Gets the Earthquake KO. Yeah, that's Hustle. Hustle makes your 100% accurate moves 80%, but gives them a power boost in return. So that is the risk you run when you run a Pokemon that has Hustle like Darumaka. Mind Food coming out here. Clicks Knockoff, gets rid of that Things of Violet. And we see Superpower from the Trapinch. Doing some okay damage, not a ton though to a fat Pokemon like Mind Food. Magnemite coming out here for Fille on the U-turn. Drillbur coming out here. What kind of Magnemite we looking at here? It is indeed Choice Scarf and gets the Hidden Power Ice or perhaps Grass off here. As Drillbur sets up Stealth Rocks. Goes into Mind Food, knowing this thing is Choice Locked as it did outspeed. Magnemite only hitting 15 speed while Drillbur, I believe, gets 17. Just gonna stand and keep going for damage here. This thing's gonna get knocked off, so conveniently loses Choice Scarf and actually switch moves now if it wants, and gets the KO with the T-Bolt, so yeah, not the first time in this tournament we see Fille leave a Choice Scarf or in to lose its Choice Scarf, so you can actually switch on moves. The Zorva comes out as Arkin does not get Dark Pulse. It's a crucial flinch here. And then gets the KO with the Hidden Power Fire, or perhaps Fighting for Porygon coverage. Trapinch comes out here. That's trapping the Zorva. It's gonna, ooh, it's not gonna take a hit first though. Big Dark Pulse crit. I would like to think that mattered. As does Fille. I mean, yeah, that's wild. Huge flinch. Drifloom's not going to be able to take one either, as that Zorva is faster before an Unburden boost. Ghastly coming out here, setting up a sub. We'll see what this Ghastly wants to do here. I doubt it's subbing down to a berry, but yeah, no. Gets a Sludge Bomb off. Not quite a KO on the Zorva. He's a pretty frail Pokemon. Gets the Dark Pulse KO. I don't know if Abra is going to be able to get it done though. Clicks Protect. Can't. And then goes for the Hidden Power for the KO. It's neutral. Could be Ice, could be Fire. Here's that Chinchou. Protect as well, just to see what this thing wants to go for. It goes for Surf. Chinchou will be able to take a hit. Ooh, takes the Psychic very comfortably. And this is done. Yep, it's going to take another one, no crit. And there you go, Tiziown taking game 4 and the first set. So this will be going to a second set for the grand final. So stay tuned for one more video in this tournament, as the next video I upload will be the decisive set for the Babymonochrome tour. It's crazy where we've come this far. I've got tons of Babymonochrome coverage on the YouTube channel if you want to check that out. It's all black and white Little Cup. Tons of excellent gamers showing what they can do in this tour, including these two fine gamers as well. And Tiziown pushing it to a second set, so stay tuned for that. Gonna upload that hopefully in the next few days here. Things have been busy with the baby and watching hockey on TV. In fact, that's why I'm up this early recording. It's because I was gonna watch hockey, but this game I'm watching is actually kind of a blowout, so I thought I'd just record this set. Anyways, yeah, there you have it. Okay, so yeah, stay tuned for more Babymonochrome action. And yeah, set 2 of the grand finals coming up soon. Thanks for watching. Peace.